welcome to Random Gaming Talk. It's Entertainment Talks podcast for video games. I'm your host Matthew, and unfortunately today, well, depending on how you look at the situation, I am doing a solo show today. Robert is unavailable. Basically, all that's happened, Robert's fine, and everything like that is not to do with his health. He's got a new job, and his work schedule is a little bit crazy. I spoke to him yesterday. I'm going to send him this show anyway, and so that he knows what I've talked about and that sort of thing. But basically his work schedule was a little bit crazy, because I said to him yesterday, like, what time do you want to do the show today, so that I know what time to do it as well. And he said that he wasn't sure. It's supposed to be a shortish sort of job. I think it's like a contract thing or whatever. So I think I don't know how long that's going to last necessarily, or what the situation is there. So it's possible that next week's show might be a solo one as well. We don't know at the moment, but we know at least as far as this week. We couldn't really figure out when we were going to do the show, because Robert didn't know when he was going to finish his job for today, so we didn't know what was going to happen necessarily. But yeah, so unfortunately that's the situation. But he will be back soon, I'm sure, to join back in with the conversation, and I'm sure I'll be fine with doing a solo episode. I've done them before, of course. I did do it was fairly recently, wasn't it, when we talked about Gotham Knights and all that. I remember doing 2 solo episodes in a row at that point, because of certain situation or whatever it was. But yeah, obviously I've done dozens of podcasts on my own, so I should be fairly fine to do this today on my own. But yeah, Robert is doing well. He's perfectly in good health and everything. It's just a bit of a mixed up sort of job situation, but all is well apart from that, and all is well with me as well. So because usually I ask him how he is and that sort of thing, but we're both doing well. It's just a situation with his job. But you'll have to just listen to me today. So yeah, in terms of things I've been playing, I finished Watch Dogs Legion, went through it at the weekend, finished it, and I'm not going to say too much here, because I did do my spoiler-free review. You can go and listen to that and everything, and see what I thought of the game. It's a spoiler-free review as well, so there's no need to worry about any spoilers. I mentioned different characters here and there in the review, and obviously different things that kind of not happen in the story, but what the story is about, and sort of that kind of thing. I also talked about like the recruitment section of the game, and how it was sort of interesting but not entirely needed. But if you want to hear more of my thoughts on Watch Dogs Legion, I did do the podcast on that, so that's pretty much what I've been playing there. Return to Call of Duty. The revive system is still not fixed in Cyber Attack. The interesting thing with that, because I've been talking to a few different people that I played the game with, about the situation there. Usually with the battle pass, when that gets reset, you usually get the next season that comes up. Now the interesting difference this time is that, because when we got the update for the last season, which was season 6 for Modern Warfare, Black Ops Cold War, or Cold War Black Ops? No, Black Ops Cold War wasn't out. Now, there's some speculation just among different people I've played with and different things online, because there is currently, I think it was yesterday that I checked, or maybe the day before, there was 7 days left on the Battle Pass. Usually when the Battle Pass ends, you get the next season, because we've had 6 seasons so far. We were due a 7th season. There was news that there was going to be a 7th season. And the speculation at the moment, now this is just speculation among people that I've played the game with and that kind of thing, I've speculated that basically once this 7-day timer on the Battle Pass runs out, that we will get Season 7, and that we will get the update, and that update should fix the revive system. Now, I don't know why you need to wait for the new season to fix probably just a piece of code that's missing in the game, because there was an update to the game, and it got something happened with the revive system in Cyber Attack, which was the main game mode that I play, and it got taken out of the game. Basically, it's not broken. You can't. Basically, when a teammate dies, there's no prompt to revive someone. It's just not there, as if it's like just not a thing in the game. If you stand next to somebody's body or whatever, and you try and revive, you'll probably just pick up their gun or something. So it's not as if like you can prompt the revive thing and it doesn't work. It's just not there. There's nothing there to interact with. the other piece of speculation I saw, or I have talked to people about, is that when this 7-day battle pass for the thing ends, it won't be for Modern Warfare Season 7, it will be for Black Ops Cold War Season 1, because we of course have a new Call of Duty game on the scene. So there's that as well. It could be both. It could be Season 7 of Modern Warfare and Season 1 of Black Ops Cold War, but I have been saying before, and saying before the new Call of Duty game came out, that I don't see a situation where they continue to give new season updates for Modern Warfare, update Warzone, and update Black Ops Cold War. I don't see all three being supported. Now, it's interesting when you open up Call of Duty Modern Warfare, because it gives you three menu options basically. It's got Warzone in the middle, Black Ops Cold War on the left, which it says to me to purchase because I haven't bought it, and then on the right it's got Modern Warfare. So they're sort of trying to set it up so where, because I know that the progress that you make in Warzone for Modern Warfare gets carried over to Black Ops Cold War and vice versa. I don't know exactly how that works because they're games set in completely different time settings and have different weapons and different maps and whatever. So I don't know how that works necessarily. I don't play Warzone, so I've spoken about that before. I think it might just be a rank thing, maybe. I'm not really sure, but if this 7-day timer ends, which it will end before the next podcast, I don't know if Robert will be able to join me or if it will be another solo episode. The countdown timer for that should end by next week's episode, so I should know by next week what's going on. But it would make some sense that that would be for Black Ops Cold War Season 1 and for Modern Warfare Season 7. Now, another question that I had for people is, okay, so Modern Warfare is a year old now. Came out, 13 months old actually, because it came out October last year. I think it was October last year. Either October or November, regardless, it's about a year old. How long is Modern Warfare going to get supported for? Because is it going to be supported until next year, when the next Call of Duty game comes out? And then you've got 3 Call of Duty games to support. I don't know how that's going to work, but we obviously don't know what the next Call of Duty game is going to be. I'm just wondering, okay, next month, the one after that, how long is that support going to kind of go on for? So it's a bit of speculation at the moment, but that's what's going on with the game basically at the moment. In terms of other things, played some FIFA, played some PES. That's going pretty well. Doing a lot better on PES, as some of you have noticed in the live streams. I'm getting a bit more used to the game, I think, which I knew was kind of the situation. I'm still having a little bit of trouble just shooting in the game. There's certain chances I feel I should be scoring a little bit more, but it's just the fundamental difference between FIFA is much more of a arcadey type of football game, and PES is very much more just a simulator sort of game. So PES is a lot more realistic in terms of just how it works. I mean, aside from the refereeing system. But yeah, I'm getting used to playing both because obviously I play FIFA with my dad, and then I play PES on the streams and stuff. So yeah, it's interesting to play both, but that's going pretty well. Other than that, my next game that I'm going to be starting, because of course I finished Watch Dogs Legion, I'm going to be going on to Super Mario Sunshine, because I have got the 3D All-Stars collection for Switch. I've also got Hyrule Warriors for Switch, not Hyrule Warriors, Hyrule Age of Calamity I think is the actual name of it, the new Breath of the Wild prequel thing. I played a couple of minutes of it. I just wanted to see what it even looked like. It looked quite good, it looked interesting, at least. I like sort of the setup there. I played some of Super Mario 64, because I wanted to dip into that Mario collection, and it just doesn't, it feels, I don't know, I might go back to it at some point, but I've just got more interested at the moment in playing Super Mario Sunshine. It's just a bit more modern and a bit newer. It just, something about Mario 64 just felt a little bit strange, because you've got Mario 64, then you've got Super Mario Sunshine, and then you've got, it's either Worlds or Galaxy, I'm not sure, I can't remember which the third one is, but it's one of those in the collection as well. But yeah, I did have, or I still got Super Mario Sunshine on my GameCube, but I would just prefer to play it on Switch, so that I can, pause it better and, play it on my new system and stuff. Plus, use the Switch again. By the way, I what was it? It was last night. Went to close Hyrule, not Hyrule Warriors, the Hyrule game, Age of Calamity. Went to close that, put in the Mario All-Stars game, the 3D All-Stars thing. And I got Joy-Con drift. Yeah, and on my main Switch menu. I've never heard somebody say what that menu's called, because you've got the Xbox dashboard, you got the cross-media bar for PlayStation. I don't know what the Switch home is called, but the home screen of the Switch anyway. I've literally never heard anybody say what it's called, and it's been about 3.5 years. But yeah, I didn't even move any of the Joy-Cons. I basically just turned on my Switch, went to the main menu thing, pressed X to close the thing, pressed A to quit it or whatever, took one cartridge out, put another one in, and the game came up, and then my right stick decided to go to the right. I hadn't touched any of the, I guess you could call them analog sticks, on the Joy-Cons. Went to do that, and yeah, basically I just pushed the stick back the other way. It's a really big issue, and it was really, really annoying when it happened. So yeah, it's I just hope that, because obviously something like one of the 3D Mario games, when I go to play Super Mario Sunshine, is going to require me to use the right stick because of the camera, and I just hope that that doesn't mess me up. So yeah, if it comes to it, because I want to actually try playing it a bit more in handheld mode, if it comes to it, I'll just put the Switch in the dock, I will take the Joy-Cons off, and I will use my PS4 controller adapter thing, because that's really the only way to get around it, other than trying to get the Joy-Cons fixed. But it's good that I got something else I can use anyway. So that's pretty much me in terms of what I've been playing and doing in terms of games. Obviously there's TV shows and stuff that I've been watching, but this is a video games podcast. So speaking of things that we've been watching and everything, let's get into some housekeeping. See you for that in a minute. Hi there, and thanks very much for listening. Today I'm here to tell you about our 2 different affiliate links, the first of which is our Amazon affiliate link. That's where you can shop on Amazon. We can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you anything extra. So whether you're getting a gift for somebody else or treating yourself, or maybe both depending on the occasion, we can get a small cut of what you spend, but it won't cost you extra. You can find the link to our Amazon affiliate link in your show notes. The second affiliate link for today is our TLOU affiliate link. If you want to get started with a website and a domain name of your choice, you can simply sign up with TLOU using the link in the show notes. They also have a live chat support system that's in the bottom right hand corner as well. So if you need help with getting set up, TLOU will be able to help you with that as well. The links for both of these can be found in your show notes for TLOU and the Amazon affiliate link. If you would like to get the ad-free versions of Entertainment Talks podcast and support us along the way, you can simply sign up over on our Patreon page. You can sign up either as a creator or as a patron. There's no difference there for the time being, and you can get your ad-free podcasts over there. It's a great way to support us on Entertainment Talk and to get rid of the ads and get your ad-free podcasts. You can also support Entertainment Talk on Patreon at the $3 level tier. This gets you a chance to request a review from us of your favourite TV show or film, but it's one per month, so one TV show or film review per month. It's up to you which one you want to choose. We will watch a few episodes of the TV show that you choose, or of course if it's a film, we'll just watch that film and we will review that for you on that month. And then when it gets to the next month, you can request a new TV show or a film review of your choice. That's $3 level tier. That does also of course include your ad-free podcasts for the month as well. Thank you very much for listening and enjoy the rest of the show. Alright, recently on Entertainment Talk, what have we got here? What have we got here? Let me scroll down. Yes, as I said, my Watch Dogs Legion review. I gave it a possible skip rating, gave some different reasons on the podcast as to why, just in terms of what I got out of the game and what I think other people will want to get out of the game, if that makes sense. But I gave it that rating and did a spoiler-free review. So if you want to know a bit more in depth of what I think of Watch Dogs Legion, now that I've finished it, and the curious, interesting ending to the game. Again, spoiler free, but yeah, you can check that out if you want to know what I think of Watch Dogs Legion. Manchester United, in quite dramatic style, beat Southampton 3-2. We were 2-0 down at half-time. It looked doom and gloom. Cavani came on at half-time. Bruno Fernandes scored the equaliser, or not the equaliser, the first goal. Then Cavani scored 2 headers, one of which was in the 92nd minute to win the game. And yes, I shouted and cheered for that when that went in. But nonetheless, still a poor performance. You don't paper over the cracks of a bad performance with a win. But nonetheless, 3 points for Manchester United, and we are. But yes, Manchester United beat Southampton 3-2 in the Premier League and have moved up the table, which is really, really good. Let's Play Sunday's episode for Crash Bandicoot 4. You can check that out if you want to see more of that. Star Trek Discovery is still continuing. We're up to Season 3, Episode 7. We're almost finished with the season. We've got about 5 episodes left or so, but that's Star Trek Discovery that's still continuing with its season. TV Talk did that with Grey. Last week we talked about High School Musical, the series. I'm not going to read out the full name of the show. But the High School Musical TV series on Disney+. Emily in Paris on Netflix talked a bunch about different procedurals and things like that. And we also talked about The Undoing on HBO and Sky Atlantic. So there's that as well. The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 1 Episode 8. We'll be talking about the double season finale episode tomorrow for 9 and 10. They both aired this week because I've watched them both, but we're going to be talking about those episodes and the season finale tomorrow, so have a look out for that. And then of course we got Fear the Walking Dead, which is for season 6 episode 7, the mid-season finale. That will be back some point next year. And then there's the gaming talk from last week as well. But that's what we've been doing on entertainmenttalk.org and on podcast platforms. Let's move into some news. Alright, so first thing that we've got, this was in the news last week, but for the life of me I just couldn't remember that it actually happened. I went to make the notes last week and knew that there was something big that had been announced. I just could not remember what it was. But I do have it with me today. There's a James Bond game in development from IO Interactive, and they are the developers of the newest Hitman games. There's a third one on the way, and at some point soon there will be VR support for all 3 games, which would be really, really cool, and I'm going to play through all 3 of them when that happens. But I think this is a really, really good fit. We've spoken before about developers and whether they'd fit with certain games, and I remember saying recently that with the Avengers game that Crystal Dynamics just didn't really fit that particular franchise, because you can't just have anyone make any game. There's, certain qualities that developers sort of lean towards and things like that. And this sort of, espionage, spy kind of genre. I know that the role of Hitman is a little bit different to the role of someone like James Bond. But fundamentally it's still sort of the same spy-esque sort of genre, which is really, really good. I think this is a great fit. I can't wait to see what they do with this. I did see some worries from people that they hope this isn't like a Hitman game but with a James Bond sort of skin, I suppose. But we will see what they come out with that. I think that would be a little bit cheap if they did it like that. Like, you've got to have sort of the core stealth kind of mechanics and assassin sort of mechanics from James Bond, but don't make it too much like a Hitman game. There's going to be a bit of a fine line between that, I suppose, to where, a James Bond game could feel like it's just got a James Bond sort of skin on it. And again, kind of bringing up the Avengers, that sort of feels like an Anthem game in a way, but with or a Destiny sort of style game with an Avengers sort of thing in there. I know that the Avengers characters play different to the Anthem and the Destiny characters and stuff, but sometimes you've got to avoid feeling like you're copying another game. In this case, it would be the game that they've made in the past with Hitman. But I think this is a brilliant fit, and I'm assuming this will come out some point after Hitman 3. That game was announced for one of the PlayStation showcases earlier this year, or one of the PlayStation events. My assumption would be that the Hitman 3 will be 2021, and then this Hitman game would be in a few years' time. So we'll see, because we don't know how far along Hitman 3 is in development. But we've got a new James Bond game on the way, and I think that'll be really, really quite cool. So we got that to look forward to as well. Now, this next piece of news, I have put in the headlines, which is about Last of Us 2 winning some awards. I couldn't remember if we'd already spoken about these, because I remember talking about them somewhere, but it was off the air and I was talking to David about it, because he brought up the Golden Joystick Awards, and I checked my show notes from last week, and we did talk about awards, but it was the Game Awards that we talked about, because I just mentioned that I did my voting for the Golden Joystick Awards. But Last of Us 2 has come out swinging yet again, not just with nominations, because obviously the topic of a few weeks ago was talking about how Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2 had kind of destroyed the nominations, because they both got nominated for multiple categories. Last of Us 2 was run really, really well in the Golden Joystick Awards. Of course, there's a bunch of these different award things. I think Golden Joystick and Game Awards are two that sort of stick out a little bit. Of course, the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley is what I would consider the official one, like the official Game of the Year and that sort of thing. But still, there is other Game Awards sort of shows. Some of them are just a bit more quieter. But they won 6 awards. PlayStation Game of the Year, Ultimate Game of the Year, Best Storytelling, Studio of the Year, so Naughty Dog in this situation, Best Visual Design, and then Best Audio. I do still think that in those particular categories, even when you look at things like visuals, audio, storytelling, even things like accessibility that it was nominated for the Game Awards, I do think that it did the best job of any game in all those categories this year. I just think across the board, it deserves to win all those. I want to just bring up for a minute, there is a new this kind of tires me out a little bit talking about this, but I want to sort of address it because it's something I still want to talk about it, but it annoys me a little bit. So Last of Us 2 came out, there was all the leaks and whatever, which had a very big lack of context. For anyone that's still, I'm not trying to say this to try and push you to buy Last of Us 2, because that's not what I'm here to do. If you're still someone who's on the fence about playing this game and you read the leaks, which I know this is going back a few months, this is going back before the game came out, but the leaks that people saw were putting people off the game quite a bit. I promise you that although, I can't really tell you if some of that stuff is true or isn't true, because that would kind of spoil the game if you know what the leaks are, but there's a big lack of context in there, especially one big particular thing that was in the leaks. I don't want to say what it was because it's going to go into spoilers, but there's such a big lack of context. There's things that happen in this game that are explained, but don't have the explanation in the leaks. So yeah, that's where all the controversy sort of started with Last of Us 2, wasn't it? With the leaks came out, people weren't happy about them. I didn't read the leaks until after the game, because I just remember people saying like, oh, I've read these leaks, I hate what they're doing here. And I remember saying on one of the podcasts, like, what could they possibly have done for people to hate the game this much? Like, is the game really that bad? And it turns out it was just a lack of context. If you didn't like what happened in the story, you didn't like what happened to the characters or what they did, that's totally fair. That's up to you. That's your opinion. That's totally fine. I've said that on numerous occasions. But the second part of the controversy is like, okay, why? There's a discussion going online at the moment about, okay, why is Last of Us 2 getting nominated for so many awards and winning so many awards? Because as I've just read out, it just won 6 awards at the Golden Joystick, and of course it got nominated for 10 awards at the Game Awards a few weeks ago when it was nominated for things. It's the way it is. It got nominated because it's a good game. There is no, the only criteria I understand for actually nominating a game for anything is it has to come out between a particular point, start and end of a particular point of the year. Obviously things like Cyberpunk, we know this year have been moved to next year because, Cyberpunk comes out on the day of the Game Awards, so yeah, you can't really include that. Things like Jedi Fallen Order last year were pushed to this year because it got nominated for, was it Best Action Game or something? I think it was nominated for. Not Star Wars Squadrons, Jedi Fallen Order, the last year's Star Wars game. Then you have things like Smash Brothers, which was a 2018 game in December that was pushed to 2019. So there's things like that I know that there's a certain criteria, like your game has to come out by a certain point in order to be nominated. Because I remember that with Jedi Fallen Order, I think the game came out 2 or 3 days before the awards were announced, and obviously it just got cut off because it was too late, and it got pushed to this year's awards. It's a little bit fiddly, technically Cyberpunk is still a 2020 game, but it will be in the 2021 awards. So that's what I understand in terms of criteria. In terms of like whether something's good or bad or should it deserve something, to me at the end of the day with Last of Us, when it comes down to the controversy, it's down to people didn't like Abby because they didn't like the way that she looked. People didn't like a particular thing that happened in the story because, to me, they don't really understand drama and stakes. If you don't like what happened in the story, that's different. That's a totally different thing. If you understand drama and stakes, which Last of Us 2 very much has because it is a dramatic story, which big characters are going to die in the story. That's just how that works, especially with a post-apocalyptic story as well, like a zombie sort of story. People didn't like the way that Abby looked because she had muscles, basically, and she's a woman that's got muscles, and some people don't like that, even though there's been bodybuilders and whatever for decades, even way before even I was born or whatever. Women have looked like that for years, but for some reason, because Abby looked like that in this game, people didn't like that, and because of what happened in the story, people couldn't take it, I suppose. Those are I've seen all of the angles of hate around this for this game this year, and all of which I disagree with, and that's just my opinion. I'm fine with what happened in the story. I loved what happened not love what happened in the story. I see, that's the thing with Last of Us. It's not a game that, like, I don't know, it's a bit strange. But regardless, if you didn't like what happened in the story, that's totally fine and everything. I think I've made my point anyway, but there's no, like, I don't, part of me doesn't get the, okay, what is the criteria for, because you get, 5 or 6 nominees for like Game of the Year. What is the criteria there? I think it's just the 6 games that stood out the most throughout the year. I think it's pretty much as simple as that. And Last of Us was one that got 9s and 10s and whatever all over the place. So was Animal Crossing, so was Doom, so was Ghost of Tsushima, so was, what were the other nominees? Whatever the other nominations were as well. But yeah, that's just how that works. But it's getting a bit tiring to see it. First of all, it was a controversy about what happened in the game. Now it's controversial because the game got nominated for the awards, and there's won different awards. It's just it's getting a little bit tiring to sort of see it. So, but yeah, that's just, again, this is just my perspective. If you think differently, it's totally fine. So I'll just stress that. But yes, PlayStation Game of the Year, Ultimate Game of the Year, Best Storytelling, Studio of the Year, Best Visual Design, and Best Audio as well. So yeah, absolutely dominated the Golden Joystick Awards, and I hope it does it again in 10 days in the Game Awards, which is next week Friday. Yeah, which is very, very soon. So we will see what happens with all of that. But that's Last of Us 2 for Golden Joystick Awards. Sorry if I went on a bit of a rant. I was just trying to explain my perspective on things, which is what I'm here to do. So let's move on to some fun stuff. Not that wasn't fun, but there's awkward conversations attached to it. Where did my screenshot go that I have? There we go. So, very interesting thing here. I'm not actually sure what to make of this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Crash Bandicoot, of course, another game that I very much love from this year, Crash Bandicoot 4, tweeted out a video. It's 30 seconds long, or about 30 seconds long, and the video says, I'll tell you what the video says, and then I'll tell you what happens in the video. So, from the Crash Bandicoot account, which was retweeted by Naughty Dog and was retweeted by PlayStation. Great to see friends helping friends this holiday season, with a winky face. Then they tagged Naughty Dog and PlayStation. They probably would have retweeted it anyway, but they just tagged them anyway. The video is a 30-second video of Coco, Crash Bandicoot's sister, who is playable in the Insane Trilogy and is playable in Crash Bandicoot 4, Crash's sister, is playing Uncharted... which one was it? I think it's Uncharted 3. It's the bell sequence when you're falling down a tower and you have to basically climb your way out. That's either from Uncharted 3 or Uncharted 4. I think it's Uncharted 3. Um, Basically, you have to. There's all these different cogs in the tower and stuff, and it's collapsing, and you got to jump your way out of it in typical sort of Uncharted style. So Coco's doing that. She's focusing and she's tapping buttons and whatever. I don't think it's a DualShock that she's holding. Let me just zoom into the picture. No, it's just a standard sort of grey big controller. Crash is sitting next to her. He's sipping on this drink. He's doing all sorts of emotions because, of course, the only words that Crash says is "whoa" when he when he dies or falls down a particular area of the map. If you've accidentally made him fall off of that. Coco does speak, of course. I think Crash is the only character in the game that doesn't speak, because I remember the different cutscenes with multiple characters, and they pretty much all speak apart from Crash, but he never has really spoken before. Apart from the terrible Skylanders show, don't watch that. Well, like it if you watch Skylanders, but don't watch that show for Crash. It will just disappoint you, especially when they bring Coco in, because it's just weird. Who speaks? Crash in that show speaks in like an Australian accent. It's weird. So yeah, she's doing all that. She does manage to sort of get past this part in the Uncharted game. Crash sort of like cheers and whatever. He's very, very animated, Crash, in this particular scene, because Crash is sort of like flailing his arms around and stuff, and Coco's just sort of sitting there and doing like the typical tension video game type of thing. There was pointed out that, now I couldn't see what this logo said, but in the top right of the video there's a logo that's supposed to hint towards something. I couldn't for the life of me read it, what it said. It's sort of hidden behind this piece of wood or whatever. Some people have said that this is teasing a new game, which I'm all for. I think, I'd love to see another game from any of the three developers really. You've got Beanox, you've got Vicarious Visions, and you've got Toys for Bob that made this game, of course, as well. So Crash is sitting there sipping this drink. She wins, or however you describe her as winning. Crash cheers. Coco sort of is like, "Oh, my brother," kind of that sort of look that she gives, which is quite funny. And then yeah, it ends there basically, and it looks like it takes place on Insanity Beach, because it looks the location sort of looks a little bit like that. It's the same. Excuse me. It's the same blue sofa that they've got as well, that they sit on at certain parts in the game, and it's in the very first level, which is on Insanity Beach. So there's a lot there to actually look at. Now, in terms of this being a tease for a new game, I mean, Crash Bandicoot 4 only came out in October, and it's now December, so it's a little over a month old. It's about 6 weeks old or so. No, sorry, about 5 weeks old or so. It feels a little bit early, like really early, to tease the next game. I mean, I'm all for, like I said, a Crash Bandicoot 5 and 6 and 7 and whatever, as long as they keep delivering, what they did well in the current Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, 3 and 4, which are brilliant games that I love. So I'd obviously love to see another game. It just feels really early. I think this is just sort of like a season's greeting kind of thing. Like I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into. I think it does probably mean something, but part of me just thinks that this is Toys for Bob basically, or Activision, just sort of having fun with it a bit. I do like, however, how even though Sony doesn't own this IP anymore, it's owned by Activision, and of course, Crash Bandicoot's always going to be in PlayStation's history pretty much. I mean, Activision's a third-party publisher anyway, and the games will probably always be on PC, Xbox, Switch eventually, and PC, Xbox, all four of the main sort of platforms. It is interesting that, because it's clear that Activision is fine with the whole PlayStation history sort of there. Because Nathan Drake from Uncharted is in this video, and he is still attached to the Uncharted series developed by Naughty Dog, which is owned by PlayStation. So it's interesting that there's still that little bit of PlayStation kind of crossover there, that sort of PlayStation history, the sort of nod to that, and I really, really do like that a lot. And a lot of people pointed out that they like that quite a lot as well. But this feels really early to be teasing another game. Whether it's some sort of DLC level would be really cool. They did do the DLC for well, they did Stormy Ascent from Crash Bandicoot 1, which was free, which was a level that was originally too difficult for the original game that they had to take out, but they put back in for the Insane Trilogy. And then they made, I think it was called Future Tense for Crash Bandicoot 3, which was also free to download as well, for the Insane Trilogy. So yeah, and a sort of extra level. I mean, there's already 100 levels in the game, and there's a ton of stuff, an absolute ton of stuff to do. But sure, if this is a DLC level or some sort of holiday content, that would be great. I just think it's really early to tease another game. Now, there could be in the early stages of planning Crash Bandicoot 5. That would be brilliant as well. But yeah, just feels a little early to me. But again, I'm all for where this is going. But I love what they're doing here. I love, everything about this, and it's great. And it's a great little scene to watch as well. So that was really good. So we will see what comes out of this. Whenever something does, we really don't know, but it's going to be interesting nonetheless in the future. But yeah, I just appreciate that Naughty Dog, PlayStation, and Activision are kind of together on this thing, I suppose, which is really good. But let's move on from Crash Bandicoot 4 and talk about December's Games with Gold and PS Plus games. So we've got, I'll just read this out from Xbox.com. The December Games with Gold lineup is here on the Xbox One and Series S and X and all that stuff on your Xbox, basically. Solve the mystery and catch the Raven in The Raven Remastered and take out waves of enemies in the shooter platformer Bleed 2. And for our classic lineup via backwards compatibility, of course the Xbox 360 games, Shoot the Devil in the Face in Saints Row. It's called Gat Out of Hell, G-A-T. So instead of G-E-T, which is Get Out of Hell, it's called Gat Out of Hell, which is whatever. It's Saints Row, so what do you expect? And solve puzzles as a nesting doll in stacking. I think this is another really poor month for Games with Gold. I think that the Saints Row games are terrible. I've played 2 of them. I didn't finish them because I didn't want to. I think they are basically a cheap... They're a cheap version of GTA, really, aren't they? And they used to be a lot more simpler. Now they've got all this really weird, bizarre stuff. It's a game that's out there. It's a game that's built just for fun and laughs and whatever. But I don't think those games are very good at all. Bleed 2, I think, is the best one here. I do have that on my Switch, actually, but it's really, really difficult. It's just really, really fast and very sort of hectic and all that sort of thing. But I did like it. I do want to go back and play it. I do own it on my Switch because I did buy it, so I can play it at any time. The Raven Remastered, I've never seen that game before. Let me just actually look at the picture here. No, I don't even recognise that game. So, and then the stacking looks weird. That could be a good game for like puzzle solving, possibly. I'm just trying to think of what you could get out of these games, basically. It's a game that looks kind of family friendly a little bit. If you want to kind of, I know I'm kind of searching a little bit here. If you want to maybe teach like your young children or your nieces and nephews or children that are related to you or children that you are looking after, is a way to sort of put that, like if you're babysitting or whatever the occasion may be, it could be a decent game for puzzle solving. I don't know how much they'll learn from it, but it's still like you got to figure things out, obviously it's much better for young people to play stacking than it is for Saints Row. So yeah, the Raven I couldn't tell you anything about, and Bleed 2 is a good one for if you want a tough video game. So that's your Games of Gold. I don't think it's a very good month at all. So they continue on the path of that, which is a bit of a shame. Again, I just think it's more effort into Game Pass these days, which I understand. Game Pass is doing extremely well. It is interesting to me that what's being advertised these days is Game Pass Ultimate or Xbox Live, like the Ultimate thing, which you can get for $1. It's a great marketing thing, really, because again, on I think it was this week, I saw an advert again. Get Game Pass Ultimate, that's what it's called, for $1. Now you can get like not the Mandalorian, I almost called the whole service based off of one show. Disney Plus for like the month, month free trial, and then you get games with gold kind of thrown in, and then you get the 100+ games or however many games are on Game Pass as well. So it's a good deal for £1 if you want all of that. I just don't think that games with gold is really worth it at the moment, but it's being bundled in with Game Pass at the moment, which is a good sort of, hey, if you want to sign up for either of these things, not only do you also get Disney Plus thrown in for a month, but whatever the other one is that you weren't so interested in, you get that thrown in as well. So whether you're signing up for just Xbox Live Gold to play online, or the discounts and stuff like that, or if you're signing up for Games with Gold, or if you're signing up for Game Pass, you get the other thing thrown in for free, which is a good deal. But I just don't think the Games with Gold has been very good for a long time. Let's move on to PS Plus for December. December 2020, your free PS5 and PS4 games announced. So what have we got here for you? I'll read this. This is from pushsquare.com, which is a good site for PlayStation news. December's 2020 free PS Plus games have been announced, and has been the case since the PS5 launch earlier in the month. 3 titles are up for grabs, one of which is available on Sony's new console, the PS5. The PS5 game in question is Worms Rumble, the latest entry in the long-running series, which will also be playable on PS4. Meanwhile, on PS4, subscribers can get Just Cause 4 and Rocket Arena. Not Rocket League, Rocket Arena. It says it's an arena shooter. Just Cause 4, I think, is a good game to have fun with. I genuinely think if you want to go into a big open world game to just have fun and blow stuff up and shoot stuff and whatever, Just Cause 4 is a very, very good option for that. Because you've got options like Grand Theft Auto, which is a good option for that. Saints Row, which I don't think is very good. You've got things like Crackdown 1, 2 and 3, I suppose. I don't think that those games are very good. Just in terms of like mucking around or messing around in an open world, I think that Just Cause 4 is your best option. Plus you get like loads of weapons and RPGs and all sorts of things. Either that or one of the Grand Theft Auto games is probably a good option. But yeah, Worms Rumble being included for PS5, which is quite good. I did used to play the Worms games, but I just haven't for a very long time. I've not really had the need or want to, I suppose. But the ones that I have played on the Worms series have been quite good. They're quite good sort of fun games as well. And then Rocket Arena, I think is a little bit of a letdown here possibly. I haven't played it myself, so I can't speak to the quality of the game. But yeah, you got Rocket Arena in there as well if you want it. But I think that just based on Worms Rumble and Just Cause 4, I think that's a fairly good month. Not one of PlayStation Plus's best, but certainly quite a good month. So that's your PS Plus and your Xbox Games with Gold games for the month of December, the last one of the year. So we'll see what they come out with in the new year at some point soon. I would just really like, as a VR owner, PSVR owner rather, to have some PSVR games in there. I think that Beat Saber could be due for something like that. I'd love to try out Beat Saber. I've never seen it discounted. It's like £25, and I don't really want to pay £25 for a game like that, or for a VR game, and I also can't rent it. So I'm a bit limited on my Beat Saber options, but it's certainly a game I'm interested in. So there's that as well. And then you got, yeah, I've said there is quite a lot of PSVR games available, and you could probably include some of them as well. So, but that is those for December. We'll see what they come up with in January, but I do want just some PSVR games in the future. I think that would be a good offering, because they've done it in the past. I think they've done it twice before. They'd offered Firewall 0 Hour, which is quite a good game actually. It takes a bit of getting used to. The movement's a little bit weird, but it's quite a good game anyway. So I had some fun with that in multiplayer. That was quite good. And I think Wipeout in VR was the other option, wasn't it, before? If I remember correctly. Yeah, I think there's been 2 of them in the past. So that's all the news and everything that we've got for this week. Of course, we don't have anything from Robert to add because he's not here, unfortunately. But let's move on to some emails. We got 2 this week. One of which I wanted to leave until last because it's a very nice email to finish off on, but we'll get to that in a minute. If you do want to send in your emails, thoughts, questions, comments, concerns about anything related to video games or anything related to Entertainment Talk, Matthew at entertainmenttalk.org, Twitter eTalkUK. There's a contact page and information in your show notes. Becky says, so fellas, with Cyberpunk just around the corner, what are we expecting for reviews from the big outlets? I'll have to, of course, ask this question to Robert when he's back. I'm expecting 9s and 10s from most of them. There will be some out there that will give it like a 6 or a 7. They'll find some problems with the game or whatever. But as long as the game doesn't launch with any major problems, which it shouldn't do, because it has been delayed quite a few times, because it was due to come out in April, then in November, now in December. So yeah, you think about like, okay, what version of the game did they have that was going to be ready all the way back in April? And then you think of, I don't know how many months that is, April, yeah, then May, June, July, August, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 7 more months of development after that, roughly 7 months, because, you know, they got to make the game go gold and sort of ship it and stuff, so that takes a little bit of time off from it. But 6 or 7 more months after that from development. I remember somebody at CD Projekt Red said that they were having trouble getting the melee combat sort of done the way they wanted it to. I think that was back in April. I remember reading about that. But again, what version did they think that they were going to have ready in April that they've had another 6 or 7 months to work on? What version do they now have that's improved from that April version, or even the version that was going to be ready for November 19th, was it, I think? The game has obviously changed since then. Probably not as much from the November to December delay, but certainly from, you know, April to December, the game's probably changed a bit or gotten better from there. But I think there will be people that try to dig a little bit for problems in this game. Someone will find something that they don't like because, well, they always do. And I think that those people give the game like a 6 or a 7. I can't see anybody giving this game lower than like a 6 or a 7, but I do think the vast majority is going to be 9s and 10s. On Metacritic, it will probably be 9 and above, I would imagine. User score is going to be a bit different. So yeah, again, all of that, like I said about Last of Us and all the you know, controversial stuff. At the end of the day, it's down to opinions. If someone doesn't like a game and you do, neither of you are right or wrong. Vice versa, neither of you are right or wrong, really. But yeah, I just hope that the game doesn't launch with any problems, and that this development thing that's been going on hasn't hindered something necessarily. So, but I think the game will come out great. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it more as time has gotten closer. I don't know, maybe it's because for me, like, the only 2 big games left for the year for me to play, I think, is Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is in my rental list. I'm just waiting for it. And because I sent Watch Dogs Legion back today, so I should get Spider-Man soon, hopefully. I'm hoping to get that and play through that before Cyberpunk. Not in like a rush through it way, but it's supposed to be quite short, so yeah, I'm hoping to go through that for then. But now that, like, just for me, again, now that like Crash has come out, Last of Us has come out, Spider-Man is still kind of there. Cyberpunk, I'm now able to sort of focus on Cyberpunk a bit more. Before it was like, okay, Last of Us 2, obviously I was wildly looking forward to that, and that paid off. Crash Bandicoot 4 was really, really looking forward to that. Things like Watch Dogs Legion I was looking forward to. Spider-Man, which is I've still got yet to play. But now that most of those games have come and gone, Cyberpunk's the only one left. So yeah, it is interesting that such a big game like that is coming out in December. Usually most of the big games are out in October, November, which they intended it to be, obviously, for November 19th, but it just didn't quite work out that way. So but yeah, I think 9s and 10s from most people, and then some, like, you'll get 1 or 2 like 6 or 7s, and then you'll get a YouTube video that you'll come across, this is why I hate Cyberpunk, and it'll be like, okay, cool. Again, if someone hates Cyberpunk, that's fine. So yeah. Michelle says, I really hope Animal Crossing wins something this year. It's a game that really calms me and has offered me something special. So I wanted to end the show here today on this email. I think this is a really nice one and speaks to something I've talked about recently, which is how Last of Us 2 and Crash Bandicoot 4 helped me. I was nervous to do that podcast. It felt a little bit silly to do it at certain points, but I thought, you know what? I've got the platform to do it. I want to do it. Nobody can tell me that I can't. If I feel that way about the game, that's completely up to me. Nobody can tell me that those games don't mean the way that they do. And I've read stories before about I can't remember the exact title. There was an article I read a couple of years ago about somebody that played Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild, and how like they were really, really down in the dumps. They were really, really down and struggling with depression and things. And the Switch was about to come out, and Breath of the Wild was, of course, the launch title, and it had kind of lifted them up. You know, new console, new game. Breath of the Wild can be really, really calming, and I think that video games definitely can do that to people. You know, really, really calm people down and just give you a special experience. It doesn't have to be something that calms you down or makes you happy necessarily, but just something that's a special experience that really kind of sticks with you. You know, because if we are to compare, you know, Last of Us and Animal Crossing, one of them's definitely more darker than the other. So Last of Us 2 is a game that makes me happy when I think about it. The story isn't one that's like, oh yeah, really happy memories, because it's like all dark and bleak and all that sort of thing. But what I mentioned a second ago about special experiences that really help you and kind of get you through tough times, you know, the special experiences is the thing that I'm kind of really pointing at here. If a game really just kind of has a special effect on you or has a particular special experience on you, and I hope that everyone can find that. I really, really do, and I'm really glad that Michelle could with Animal Crossing. And I've heard that from a lot of different people, that Animal Crossing is a game that you can like dig into for several hours, and something that just kind of really calms you down and sort of, you know, that sort of thing. Now, Last of Us 2 isn't a game that calms me down necessarily, but it's still a special experience to me. Crash Bandicoot 4 is a better example of that. It's an incredibly frustrating game at certain points because you die a lot, but it's a happier experience certainly because of the cartoony sort of aspect of the game as well. And you know, Crash is always sort of fun and goofy and happy and that sort of thing, and that's really, really fun as well. But yeah, I hope that everyone can find a game like that. I really, really do. A game that just either makes you really, really happy or is a special experience that is something that you can think about now and again when you want something good to kind of think about and help you. Because hey, some people really struggle with different things, and especially this year with COVID and that bringing people down a little bit more. I don't only hope that people can do that. I think it's important, and I want people to find not just a game. Maybe it's a book. Maybe maybe you really like collecting figures that makes you happy or something, or it's a show, or it's a film, or a comic book, or really anything. I hope that everyone can find the sort of experience that does that for them, because I do think it's important. I do. So, and I kind of moved past my idea, because I remember when I went to plan that podcast, and I remember just in the back of my mind, you know, the negative part of me was thinking like, oh, people are going to laugh at you because, like, you know, you're saying that video games have kind of helped you. Some people would look at that as a silly thing of like, oh, video games have helped you, what are you on about? But it's true, it's the case. So yeah, I'm glad that you found that, Michelle, and that's brilliant as well. And if anybody has got any other games that they've experienced that have helped them through a difficult time, or just something that's particularly special to you, do feel free to write in and we can discuss those as well. So I'd love to do that. That would be great. But yeah, wanted to end on a really nice happy note for today, and end with Michelle's email. So thank you all very much for listening. Robert might be back next week. I don't completely know for sure. We'll have to work things out. I think it's more likely that he possibly returns when this job is finished, just because the way he was describing things to me, it's a little bit all over the place, I suppose. But we'll see how things go. We'll see how things go from next week. But for this week, it's been me. So thank you for listening to me this week. So and I hope that you enjoyed everything that I discussed. I'm going to discuss this with Robert more on the podcast next time. But I do want to talk about, like, I know we've kind of just ended on a happy note. I want to know if, how do I kind of bring this up? I want to know if people feel like I'm talking about Last of Us 2 too much. Because I'm not going to, if the occasion arises where we should talk about it, like with the Game Awards nominations and the Joystick Award wins that it got, But it is a game of reference to me for so many different reasons, so that's why I kind of bring it up so much. And plus it's still very recent, it's a very special game to me, and I tried to bring up Crash Bandicoot 4 as well, but if it is irritating people, I do want to know if that's the case. So yeah, just let me know. But again, like I said, I hope that people can find that special, meaningful experience for them. But I'll talk about that with Robert when he's back on the show. I want to know how he kind of feels about it as well. So yeah, because I don't want to annoy the audience with that, I suppose. But thank you all very much for listening. You can find everything that we do on entertainmenttalk.org, TV, video games, films, and Manchester United podcast. Good win recently. By the way, we travel to, actually I don't know if it's a home or away game, but we've got PSG tomorrow in the Champions League, so we'll see how that goes. There's apparently some players not available, so we'll see how that goes. But thanks for listening. You can find everything that we do on entertainmenttalk.org. If you like what you've heard today and you want to support it and hear some more from us, of course entertainmenttalk.org is where you can find everything. But if you want to get involved and support the podcast and the website and everything, Patreon, there's the $1 and $3 level tiers for ad-free podcast and review options. Word of mouth, you can simply tell people that you know about the website and the iTunes feeds, and help them get involved as well. Social media, you can do the same thing, but Facebook and Twitter, different Facebook groups or whatever you're using these days. TV and film news, if you want your up-to-date, reliable TV and film news. Geektown, geektown.co.uk, run by David, of course. Geektown.co.uk, if you're up-to-date, reliable TV and film news. If you want that in weekly podcast format, Tuesdays, today, there will be a new episode available every week on Tuesdays if you're up-to-date, reliable TV and film news. So check that out, geektown.co.uk, for all of that as well. Over on the Twitch side of things, Bex is streaming daily at the moment over on Twitch. She's got her Scream Saturday streams. So check those out. Find her on Twitch, Trista Bytes, Trista Bytes. You can go and find her over there. For me, I'm streaming on Twitch now and again. Did stream some Last of Us 2 the other day. I'm going to do possibly today. I don't completely know. Depends on time and things like that. But possibly some point later in this week. Maybe Friday, maybe Thursday. I haven't completely worked it out, as you can probably tell. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitch as well, eTalkUK. For all that and for some different games as well. And of course, look out for Let's Play Sundays. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.